Hello everyone, welcome to the Lead IAS. Myself I am Rohit, Faculty of Polity. Today we will be studying about the theory of separation of powers. So this theory of separation of powers, this is if you understand the rationality behind theory of separation of powers, you will be understanding the basic foundation of the polity. So the entire polity subject will be relying on the theory of separation of powers. How the powers have been divided between different organs of the government and what is the reason for the separations of the powers that has been implemented. Okay, we'll be discussing that one. So the one which we'll be going to discuss today is about the theory of separation of powers. Theory of separation of powers. Though the concept seems to be very simple, the theory of separation, the concept seems to be very simple, but it involves lot of understanding. Like see, let us take an example of the kings. So let us take the example of the kings. So the kings used to rule the kingdom in the ancient days and medieval days. What is the main power of the king? So for suppose if you just take what the main activities the king will be doing is, the king will formulate the laws in general. So even though there are courtiers will be there, ministers will be there, so the king will take the responsibility of the formulation of the laws. So while formulating any law, the domination will be mostly by the king. After the formulation of the law, in order to implement the laws that were formulated, so that is also the responsibility of the king. So the king only used to implement the laws that was formulated by him and his ministers. And the same king only used to give the justice. And the same king is only used to give the justice. So the formulation of the laws, the implementation of the laws, and the giving justice delivery system, all these things are lying only under the one person, that is the king. Yes, this is very good. Yes, the king is having all the powers. If the king is good, everything will be fine. So if the king is having enough qualities, if the king should have particular qualities to formulate the laws, the king should have very good qualities for implementing and giving the justice delivery system. If the king is well and good, these things will be very fine. But the king is not, sometimes the king may not be good every day. For suppose, like if you take the Maurya's kingdom, you can see very famous kings in the Mauryan kingdom. And also, like the Maurya kingdom came to end because of the weak successors. Similarly, if you take the Mughals, the era of Mughals, you can see very great Mughals, like the Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb. So these are some great Mughals. You can see in the Mughal dynasty also, there are very weak successors, which led to the end of the Mughal dynasty itself. So from this example, we can come to a conclusion that every time king won't be powerful. Every time king won't be that much good. So sometimes the kings will be involved in very much of luxurious activities, very much of entertainment. So they will not be completely putting away the responsibilities of the people. They will not be caring at all about the goodness of the people. So this leads to a chaos. So this leads to a very big crisis in the kingdom. So if the king is well, so these things will be going well. If the king is not proper, if the king is involved, interested more in the entertainment and other luxurious activities, this will be coming to the rescue. So the entire people, the goodness, the happy life of the people will be in the mercy of the king. So that is the main thing. So you can see the era of the church. When most of the European countries were under the hands of the church indirectly, that led to very big crisis. You can see the Plato. So how the Plato has given about the philosopher king. So you might have also heard of the Machiavelli. So this Plato and Machiavelli is not at all a part of a subject, but the problems which the people have faced in the medieval and ancient period. So these problems has to have some solution. So these solutions came up with the modern administration. So in the modern administration, they came up with a very good solution. So what is that solution? So the formulation of the laws, implementation of the laws, justice delivery system, if they are lying only in the one person, there is a probability that the king may be becoming too much authoritarian, or else the king may be becoming too much monarchy. So in order to overcome that one, we came up with a modern administration. This modern administration is mainly relying on the theory of separation of powers. As the king is formulating the laws, as the king is implementing the laws, so the same things will be performed by the modern administration. So with the help of what? So there will be executives, there will be legislature, there will be executive, there will be legislature, and there will also be a judiciary. Executive, legislature, and judiciary. As all the powers are concentrated in one single person, there are many chances that the person is becoming too much authoritarian, that the person is becoming, the rule is becoming too much tyrannical. So in order to overcome that one, so we have completely divided the rules, the activities the king is performing in his medieval and ancient times into executive, legislature, and judiciary. So the thing is that these executives will be given some powers. These executives will be given some powers. Similarly, legislatures will be given some powers, and similarly, the judiciary will also be given some powers. The powers are shared between these three organs in such a manner that executives, while exercising those powers, should not become authoritarian. Executives, while exercising the powers given to them, if they are crossing their limits, that can be questioned with the help of a legislature. And see, similarly, if the legislatures, while exercising the powers there to them, if they are becoming too much authoritarian, if they are completely putting the problems of the people aside, if they are crossing their limits, then these people will be tested by some other organ, namely executive or judiciary. Similarly, judiciary will also be having some powers. So judiciary, while exercising the powers it is having, so if they are crossing their limits, that will be checked by some other organs. So this is called as nothing but a checks and balances. Checks and balances. So if any body is crossing their limit, if any organ is crossing their limit, the other organ will check and it will balance the powers. So this one is called as a checks and balances. So this theory of separation of powers came from the French philosopher Montesquieu. So what does this mainly think is that? For suppose let us see in the polity how the executives is having the power, how the executives are controlling the legislature, and how the legislatures are controlling the executive, and how the legislatures are controlling the judiciary. So this one we will be studying. So this is all about the theory of separation of powers. If you take for example executives, there will be two different types of executives. One will be permanent executives. One will be permanent executives, and the other will be temporary executives. Permanent executives, and the other thing is the temporary executives. These temporary executives are also called as a political executives. These temporary executives are also called as a political executives. That is, this people will not be having power until unless they will be returning, but they will be having the power only for a particular limited period of time. So then who will come under the temporary executives? So the people, those people will be coming under the temporary executives will be mainly President of India, President, Vice President, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, Attorney General. Attorney General. President, Vice President, Council, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, and Attorney General. Similarly, in the legislature, the very good example for the legislature is the Parliament. So the Parliament is the one who will be formulating the laws. And see the judiciary. So you can see the example for the judiciary is Supreme Court or High Court is a very good example for the judiciary. The thing is that, see, the Parliament will be formulating the laws. So the laws will be formulated by the Parliament. And see, these laws will be implemented by the executives. And see, usually these executives are the main, these executives will be exercising main role behind bringing of a bill. But the bill has to be implemented, formulated in the parliament. That is, the bill has to be passed in the parliament. Later on, it will be implemented by the executives itself. So that is the main role of the executive. And see, and if there is any wrong with respect to executive and judiciary, so the justice, if any is wrong with the executive and legislature, the justice will be given by the judiciary. Let us take the few examples. For suppose, if you take the president, usually we will be calling president as the head of the state. So, but he is the nominal head of the country. How the president will be elected? So, we will be discussing in the polity about separate electoral college. Similarly, the president will be removed by passing a special majority in both the houses of the parliament. So, the removal of the president is lying in the hands of the parliament. And you know, this parliament will be consisting of Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha. Parliament will be consisting of mainly Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. See, and similarly, you know, like vice president will also be removed by passing a bill in the parliament that will be introduced in the Rajya Sabha and and that can also be after passing in the Rajya Sabha, it will be going to the Lok Sabha. It has to be passed even in the Lok Sabha. Similarly, if Parliament wants, in general, mainly especially if Lok Sabha passes a no confidence motion, if Lok Sabha is going to pass a no confidence motion, then it will lead to end of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. So the legislatures are controlling the executive. So the mainly Parliament is going to control the executive. Similarly, if Prime Minister wants to dissolve the Lok Sabha, he can dissolve the Lok Sabha at any time. So it doesn't matter like Prime Minister can dissolve the Lok Sabha only one particular time. So the Prime Minister can completely dissolve the Lok Sabha. So if he wants, he can able to completely remove the Lok Sabha. So indirectly his powers are lying in the hands of the. So indirectly these Lok Sabha powers are lying in the hands of the Prime Minister. So whenever he wants, he can easily dissolve the Lok Sabha. So that is the reason how the Parliament, that is mainly Lok Sabha, is in the hands of the Prime Minister. Got my point? And similarly, see, if Parliament is making any law, Parliament while making any law, if they are violating any fundamental rights of a citizen, or else if the law is against the Constitution, then who will show the solution for us? So whatever the law that is formulated by the Parliament, if the law is violating some of the provisions of the Constitution, we need to have some solutions. The solutions will be getting is in the judiciary. For suppose if you take Citizenship Amendment Act, recently we have seen Citizenship Amendment Act. If you are facing any problem with that one, if you feel your rights have been violated, you can approach to the Supreme Court. You will be getting the solution over there. With respect to fundamental rights, you can directly approach to the Supreme Court, or else you can also directly approach to the High Court. So whatever the law that is made by the Parliament, if it is violating anything, that can be questioned by the judiciary. Similarly, if any executive, for suppose if you take executive acts, for suppose ordinance. So ordinance, if while bringing any ordinance, if this ordinance is crossing the limits, if the ordinance is violating the provisions of the Constitution, then it has to be questioned. So who will be questioning? The Supreme Court itself will question. Once if you go deep into the concept, we will be learning about the case called as a DC Wadhwa case, where Supreme Court have said that repeated repromulgation of the ordinance without any change is unconstitutional and it is fine. Similarly, the judges of the Supreme Court, the judges of the High Court will be appointed by the President. The appointments of the judges of Supreme Court and High Court are lying in the hands of the President. Similarly, if you want to remove the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court, so the Supreme Court and High Court judges can be removed only in the Parliament. So the appointment of the judiciary is lying in the hands of President. So that is, he is an executive. The appointment of judiciary is lying in the hands of executive, and the removal of the judiciary is lying in the hands of the Parliament. If executives, that is temporary executives and legislatures, if they are violating any provisions, that can be questioned by the judiciary. So these three things, one or the other way, able to control each other. If any one organ is trying to cross their limits, the other organ is trying to control them. So this is called as a theory of separation of powers. This theory of separation of powers was taken from a French philosopher Montesquieu's lines. Okay, so this is the meaning of the executive, legislature, judiciary. Okay, so now we will be able to understand like the problems which the people have faced in the medieval and ancient era will be given solution in the form of a modern administration, which is consisting of executive, legislature, and judiciary. And see, in this polity, in the further subject, we'll be discussing what are the powers of the president, how the president will be elected, how the president will be removed, how the vice president is elected, how the vice president will be removed, how the vice president will become the president. So the thing is that we will be studying the president, vice president, prime minister, council of ministers. So we will be studying all these functionaries. By studying all these functionaries, we will be coming to know to one conclusion: how the Parliament is going to control the executive, how the executives are going to control the Parliament, how the Supreme Court and High Court are able to exercise their power in questioning the judiciary and legislature. So this is all about the theory of separation of powers. The entire subject polity, the foundation lies only in the executive, legislature and judiciary. So how they are functioning, how they are controlling. So one or the other way, this is really related to this theory of separation of powers itself. Okay guys, thank you. Hope you have understood.